Hello and welcome to the Thresher Football Show. I'm Dan Page, alongside interim head coach at Bethel College, Daylon Markham, as the Threshers fresh off a victory. It feels good, after losing 5 in a row, getting a win under their belt, and now 5-5 on the season with 1 game left and a chance to still play for a winning season as the Evangel Valor come to town this week. And it's a 1 o'clock kick from Thresher Stadium. You can watch it on the KCAC network, or come out and support a huge senior class that has been so important to this program. We'll get to some of that later, but a really good victory for you guys. Nobody knew how the game would go going into that one. When you lose 5 in a row like that, you don't know what your mentality is going to be like. You were playing without Tate Seabolt in that matchup, but I know it's a team sport and everything, and guys stepped up and they did a great job.
Yep.
But, walking in the way, scoring 50 against Bethany, better than last year's game against Bethany.
Yeah, it was.
And probably the year before, to tell you the truth. It's got to be a good feeling for everybody.
Yeah, it was a great game, man. Just finally come out and put up some points on offense, and then the defense do a good job holding 7 points through most of the game. They had a late touchdown, but, man, it was good to see everybody flying around, having fun, making plays all around the field. So, yeah, Tate being out kind of would have hurt us, but I thought Goff stepped up big time. He's filled the shoes up, man. He did a good job. So, it was just fun to see everybody happy after the game instead of being down on themselves. So, just happy to get that first win in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a great thing, and the team was capable of it. It's just going out there and executing, and like I said, when you haven't won a game in a month, it feels like you just kind of have to come out there with a new mentality every single time. But you guys didn't score in your first drive. However, on your second and your third, you did. In the first quarter, James Menard runs it in. I said it was a run. It didn't look like a pass to me.
No, I don't think so.
It was a handoff.
Yeah.
DJ handed it off to James Menard on a jet sweep, and he took it around the edge. I knew as soon as he got to the edge, if he took the right angle, he's going in for the touchdown there. But what a moment for him. First collegiate touchdown
crazy.
in his last season.
Yeah,
I mean, in playing football and everything. So it's pretty neat. And, of course, he is a dual athlete in tennis, and that was a really good moment. And Gabe Johnson, our head tennis coach here, was proud in that moment. He shared that a few times.
That's what I saw that.
But really big play for James. And then you guys, your second touchdown is Torrey Curry ran it in from 11 yards out. And you got Bethany to jump off sides both times on the PAT.
That was crazy.
And you declined it the first time.
Yeah.
And then you took it the second time. So what was the thinking there?
It was just like I don't know why they were jumping. I was like, they're gonna keep jumping. Let's just go for 2 because we're getting like 2.5 yards of a penalty. I was like, man, let's take it, see what happens. And then Chevy ran it in, big run for Chevy. So just like they gonna keep jumping. Let's just run and play at that point. Like they get on my nerves, honestly. Let's run and play.
Yeah. I mean, and it was good. I mean, I was thinking, man, if you take both of them, you could go even further.
Yeah, for real.
It's take one step forward and you're in, basically.
Literally. So I was like, man, might as well just run and play. We're on the inch-yard line.
Yeah, but you guys were up 15-0 after one. You added 2 more touchdowns in the second quarter, and the third one for you guys was really awesome. And so was the fourth one, for that matter. Yeah. But those are probably the 2 biggest plays, offense, defense, I felt like, in the game, barring Noah Miller's performance, which was amazing, by the way.
He went crazy.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But, you guys just run an out pattern to Kenyon McMillan, and Millie, makes one guy miss. Maybe he over pursued, but then he just takes off down the sideline. It takes it 62 yards to the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, we finally get to see this guy in open space
for real.
After all these times. We see him on kickoff return. He's had a few good returns and things like that, but he needs touchdowns.
Yeah.
And coincidentally enough, he had a touchdown against Bethany last year as well.
So, we know Millie has big play potential, man. Just got to make that one or two guys missing, and it was off to the races. So he did a good job. Dante Hicks, actually, number 4, he had a good block on the sideline. A guy pursuing him, he just hit him up for like 10 seconds, and then we call him little boy because Dante's like 30, so he has a grown man strength and threw that guy and bullied that guy. So it was a good play all around from both sides.
Yeah, it really was. And then Bethany has the ball for a little bit, they go back to pass, and out of nowhere, here comes Josh Sears. No club on his hand this week.
No club.
And he takes off down the sideline and runs it back for a touchdown. And man, it was really good to see him do that here in his junior season. A big moment for him, and you guys going up 29-0 going into half of that football game. And I'm sure everybody was excited.
Yeah, the locker room halftime was way different than the past couple of games. So, man, just happy to see everybody just smiling at halftime, not pounding and stuff like that. So, man, just good to see the team have fun out there finally.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it. And, based on my conversations with you guys, your coaching staff, and players, it's like, we're going to go out there and score points, as many as possible based on, the last 5 games and everything. And it wasn't necessarily running it up and being bad sportsmanlike or anything like that. It's just, it was almost like cleansing of sorts.
Yeah, literally.
Get this, all these positive vibes coming your way.
Yeah.
And you guys scored really fast in the third quarter.
Yeah.
You guys get the ball to start the third quarter, and DJ finds Larry for a 6-yard touchdown pass, which was really awesome. Just a short drive that took 2 minutes, 4 plays, 65 yards. I believe Josiah Buller had a big catch.
Yeah, Josiah had a big fade on that. He should have scored. He didn't have a juke move in his arsenal, I guess, but he could have scored on that. But no, he did. He got stopped at the 2-yard line, I think, and then went to a corner out to Larry. And Larry scored. Yeah,
Larry was wide open there and had plenty of room to work with. And then you guys squib kick it and recover it.
Yeah.
And was it Gavin Patton recovering that one?
Gavin Patton, yeah.
Yeah, it was. From Bueller High, and he recovers it. And you guys don't make a lot of time on that either. 2 plays, 39 yards, and then Ben Schmidt, who also threw a touchdown or 3 against Bethany last year, throws for 1 here to Josiah Buller, and Buller gets it from 7 yards. You guys go up 43-0 before Bethany finally scored on a 30-yard touchdown run. But so many things, I can't remember everything in sequence, whether it was first half, second quarter, or third quarter. But Noah Miller ended up with 3 sacks in the game, 2 strip sacks, and a fumble recovery. And he was just playing out of his mind. I mean, you have nothing left to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got, at that point, that game, and then this week left.
Yeah.
And your college career, and that's pretty much it.
He was flying around making big plays. I heard one of his sacks. I didn't see it, but I guess the quarterback didn't get back up and then come back in after that sack. So he was out there smacking people and having just flying around making plays. So that's what Noah's capable of. He's showing it now. Yeah,
you guys had more touchdown passes in a game than runs for the first time probably all season.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, it felt like that for sure. Torrey Curry had another 15-yard touchdown run, and then Bethany scored again, and the final score was 50-14. Just tying up a little bit on Noah Miller. If our stats are right, the amount of tackles he has, he's in the top 30 in the country in tackling.
Yeah.
And you also had Tate Seabolt within the top 40 as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both of your starting linebackers from this season definitely have been awesome. I mean, the guys that have rotated in for them, particularly James Goff, just going out there and just going beast mode and everything he needed to do, and then just guys coming in and rotating in and getting the job done when you need them. More than anything. But you guys win it 50-14. Let's look at the individual numbers from the game. DJ Sears, 7 of 10 passing for 162 yards and 3 touchdown passes and a long of 62. And then Ben Schmidt was 5 of 18 passing for a touchdown and 57-yarder, but he also had a big touchdown pass. DJ had the 62-yarder to Millie But then Ben had the 57-yarder to Josiah Buller, which was really big at the time. And then Ethan even completed a pass. So,
all three of them.
Yeah, your three quarterbacks all completing passes for 20 yards or more in the game, which is awesome. And Ethan just was 1 for 1. But DJ ended up rushing for 42 yards in the game. Toriano just 40. I mean, like I said, it was more of a pass game for you guys more than anything. But Tori, 2 rushing touchdowns, kind of short yardage situations for you guys. Josiah Buller ends up with 5 catches for 146 yards and a touchdown. Millie had just the 1 catch for 62 and a touchdown. Larry Cherry, 2 catches for 47 and a touchdown. And then James Menard, technically 1 catch for 20, and then he ran in a touchdown.
We'll count the pass touchdown.
Okay. I mean, if you want to. It's kind of like, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, for real.
But Noah Miller, 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. That's kind of the stat language for it, but we call them strip sacks more than anything. And he did a great job. Had a pass broken up as well. Colton McCarty, 5 tackles, nearly 2 for loss, but definitely a sack in there. Jarek Woodley had a sack and 2 tackles for loss. Just guys playing well. James Goff with 5 tackles. Ernest Ferrier with 5 tackles for the Threshers and that one. And I mean, I think the stats for their offense are a little skewed because you guys really just put the game in your hands in the first half nonetheless. And I mean, they only had like 70 or 80 yards of total offense at that point in that game. They were sacked 5 times in the game, and they 3 different quarterbacks, 2 of them throw interceptions and that matchup. And I wasn't surprised to see 3. I know they've played 4 in at least 5 games this year. So
they play a lot of quarterbacks over there.
Yeah. But the Threshers get the victory 50-14 over Bethany, and it is a big win for the Threshers. And that sets up a game this week against Evangel, where Bethel is 500 right now, and here's the odd game out where you got to go out there and prove that you are going to have a winning season and continue the streak of winning seasons every year since 2019. It'll be interesting to see how the Threshers fare. You guys know the battle is, kind of uphill. Evangel's still receiving votes. They're still a very good team. They still beat Friends this year. I mean, it doesn't matter what happened last week. They lose, 21-3 to Southwestern or anything like that, and then losing to McPherson the week before. They're not used to losing 2 games in a row, let alone 1 game in the conference. So, yeah, it's going to be a great matchup, and you guys know that, based on your performance last year going to double overtime at Evangel, you're capable of playing with the Valor this week. Let's go through some of last week's scores one more time. In the Bissell division, Avila beats Sterling 20-7. And Kansas Wesleyan wins a kind of a close game against Ottawa in Salina, 23-20. I was surprised by that, but they have clinched the Bissell division with that, and they're going back to the postseason. So congratulations to the Coyotes. And then Tabor defeated St. Mary 24-20. And then that was the Bissell scores. And then we'll leave the Kessinger deciding probably football game for last here. But Bethany, you guys beat them 50-14. Mentioned Southwestern goes to Nixa, Missouri, and doesn't give up a single touchdown to Evangel. That is how good of a team they were this year. They win 21-3 at Evangel.
Yeah, big game right there.
And I know you guys have probably dissected that game quite a bit. But we'll get to the Valor in a little bit. But Friends and McPherson. At McPherson, this one was back and forth. McPherson was ahead. Friends was ahead. McPherson was ahead. Friends was ahead. Friends ended up getting on the better half of things, 36-35. And with that win, and should they beat Bethany, they will definitely be the Kessinger Division champions. But they have pretty much locked up at this point. They have technically it's a 3-way tie, but they have the 2 tiebreakers with wins over McPherson and Southwestern, who are both 3-1 in the division or whatever it is. I can't remember what the exact record is. I think it's 3-1.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head. But so Friends is thinking about postseason as well. So your 2 conference representatives. I mean, you could argue that they could maybe get 3. Depending what Southwestern and McPherson do in the final game. Southwestern still with just 1 loss to Friends. if they win that game against McPherson, they could advocate for a chance.
They could get an at-large bid, though.
Yeah.
They deserve it. They're a good team, so hopefully they get it in.
You and I both know how hard it is to get 3 teams from this conference into the postseason, so we're not holding our breath at all. So that kind of rounds out the scores from last week. Setting up this week's game in the Bessel Division, it is Avila at home against St. Mary, and I think they're starting a little bit earlier because Avila doesn't have lights.
Yep.
So the Eagles hosting the Spires there. And then Sterling is hosting Kansas Westland, so that'll be a tough one for them against the division champions. And then Tabor hosting Ottawa in Hillsboro for this last week. And then looking at the Kessinger division, we mentioned Friends going to Bethany, and then Southwestern going to McPherson. That'll be tough for them, but Southwestern has been really good as of late. They took that loss personally.
Yes,
and then rounding out your guys' game against Evangel, it's going to be a great week all the way down to the last minute of the conference season. And believe it or not, we are here for this. It's technically week 10, but game 11 since we started at week 0 way back when. It just feels like so long ago, to be honest with you. It really does. But going to this game, just kind of highlighting a little bit about the Valor coming into this one. Their top tackler is second in the country in tackles. And he is very impressive. His name is Bradley Myers, 111 tackles on the season, 9 for loss. And, they have a very good defense, kind of similar to you guys in some ways. They just have, kept some guys off the board, and, their offense is good, so whenever you've got really good play on both sides, it's taking away opportunities from the other team to score. They have a pretty good offense as well. Reed Potts is their quarterback. He's thrown for 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns, but also 13 interceptions, so I'm sure your secondary enjoyed hearing that. But their running back has rushed for just shy of 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's Eric Williams. And their top receiver, Brock Lyle, 38 catches for 419 yards and 8 touchdown catches on the season. And this is just the second time ever Bethel's playing Evangel. I mean, last year's game, of course, went right down to the wire, 41-38 in double overtime victory down there in Nixa, Missouri. And that game will always live in infamy for me because that is the only Bethel football game I have missed in my entire time here.
That's a good one.
In 6 years. And I just remember you guys getting up early in that game and I think some people were surprised because there was a little bit more opening up in the playbook. And, that was kind of evident. You guys scored a lot of points in that football game, but from what you remember from last year's game and what you've seen from Evangel this year, what are they as a team?
I mean, they're a pretty similar team as last year. They're big and physical up front. They have Bradley Myers is a good linebacker. He's one of the best linebackers in the conference. And they have a good DN. I think it might be his brother, Zach Myers, I want to say. But he's a big DN they have. He's been probably one of the best in the conference as well. So they're pretty good in the secondary as well. But up front, they're some dogs. So offensively, they have a returning left guard, All-American. So they're pretty big. They're big and physical up front. So our D-line got to master intensity and overcome their physicality. But receiver-wise, they're missing number 4 from last year a little bit. But they still have those Brock Lyle number 9 is pretty good, and they have some pretty big and physical outside, so we'll see how that goes. But I think their quarterback got hurt last week versus McPherson, so he's not listed on the 2 deep. So they're the backup starting right now. But who knows how that? People send a lot of fake ones all the time, so they could number 11, I think number 15 could come back and start. But right now their backup is the starter, so we'll see. Who knows what they do on offense? He's more of a running, kind of a scrambler type guy, so they could come out and run the ball 50,000 times, or they can throw it a little bit differently. So we're not sure what to expect on offensive side of the ball for them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that McPherson game was, again, 2 games ago now, so you don't know who's going to be healthy again. But
Southwestern.
Yeah,
he got hurt at Southwestern last week.
Okay, well, that has a lot to do with, kind of throwing somebody new into the mix against especially Southwestern's defense. And, not scoring a single touchdown at home against Southwestern was really crucial for them. But, we'll see what happens here for this week's football game, the Valor and the Threshers. And we do appreciate their sports information staff for all the information that they sent over to kind of help us get an idea of a little bit more intensity in the matchup. They do a really good job of that, and very, very impressive. But, let's kind of revisit last year's game a little bit. You guys go up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, by halftime, and really surprised some people. And, what really worked for that on both sides of the football for you guys?
First half, man, we came out throwing the ball a little bit more than they expected. They were loading the box up, and then DJ was making some good reads and some good passes to our outside receivers. And then they were just making plays in the first half. So I think we were up 24-10, I believe, if I can remember. And then second half, we came out. They kind of changed the game plan up on offense and defense. So we going to the fourth quarter, we was winning 31-10. And next thing you know, they start just going in empty on offense and throwing the ball over the place. And then by that time, we was on like our third and fourth string DB, so we couldn't take advantage of it. They took advantage of that a little bit, and we couldn't get any. So we started playing blitzing and playing man more, and then the receivers just kind of started making plays that they weren't making the first half. So then they ended up scoring. I want to say with like 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter to tie the game up. So we had a shot to win it multiple times. They converted it multiple fourth downs on the last drive. So really was a heartbreaker last year. We had that game won. We just couldn't finish.
Yeah, I mean, were both field goals blocked in overtime, or was one in regulation?
One was in regulation. So
okay.
Yeah, one was in regulation at the second quarter, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then in overtime to tie it up, they blocked it to win.
Yeah, I mean, all you needed was one there.
Yeah, for real.
And we would have had a little bit of a spoiler kind of at that time. But the Evangel comes into this game 7-2 on the year. They're 4-0 on the road. Yeah. So that's no shocker. We followed them all season long. We know that it is a business trip for them every single time. I mean, but they're 2-2 in the division. Your team 5-5, and then 1-3 in the division, 3-2 at home this year. And should be an interesting matchup for the Threshers and the Valor this week. Kind of looking at some of their key players over the course of the season. I mean, they've had at least 6 guys honored as a conference player of the week, where we've struggled to have one, and that was Tate.
Yeah.
Way back in week 4.
I felt Noah was deserving of it this week.
Yeah, I mean, he was, he played out of his mind, like we said. I mean, that was just an understatement. But yeah, I mean, that's the way the things fall, and you just kind of have to roll with it. But they're trying to end the season on a positive note as well, because they don't want to end the year losing 3 games in a row. Versus you guys, I mean, you're trying to get that winning season again this year, and to maintain things and just really just kind of keep building and building and building. I know you guys have so many young players this season that have had to be thrown into some scenarios. I said it at the get-go. I mean, at receiver especially, you were going to need somebody to step up.
Yeah.
And Josiah Buller, I feel like, has proven that. Larry Cherry, I think, has proven that. Kenyon McMillan at slot has definitely proven that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably others as well that have really done well. But there's some guys that we have, especially the freshmen, sophomores, that we haven't even seen the ceiling from yet. Yeah. And they could be really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of sitting down the other day and thinking, okay, this person's back, but on offense, and this person's back on defense. But if anything, after this season, you're going to be looking for some linebackers, I bet.
Yeah, we're losing all of them, but 2 or 3 linebackers. So yeah, we're gonna need some for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys that are listed in the depth chart there have played a lot.
Yeah, they played a lot of football for us. So yeah, we're gonna be young in some positions next year too. So that's what comes with it, though.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings to mind, your senior class and things like that. I mean, you had a chance to send me a list of them here earlier this week, and so many really quality players. Just kind of starting with, 2 guys that you know really well. Robin and Rod, you recruited them, brought them here, and you kind of seen them from day one to this last game. And, I mean, I'm sure it's been special for you and just kind of building that relationship. But more than anything, it's a great moment. And the playing career is coming to an end finally, I guess.
I feel like they've been forever.
I bet they're tired of you getting onto them a little bit and calling them knuckleheads or, whatever.
Yeah, they're tired of me. I can tell by day by day. They're still my boys, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, those guys have been in the secondary for 3 years now as starters, and whatever configuration was back there with them, whether it was B or Trey or anybody else like that, I mean, you guys have had a lot of guys step up alongside them. Jarrett Givens is being recognized as a senior. He's had a great year, a couple interceptions in some big games this year. Definitely a physical guy. And, he likes to, really just kind of have fun with it as well. He's got his own artistic way of playing, but we're excited to see his future and things like that. And, one more game left with him, and he's been a great job transferring in a couple of years ago for you guys. And, he has definitely been awesome to see grow over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, fun fact about him, he's I think one of his books, they're making a movie out of it.
Are you serious?
I think so.
Like Hollywood, A-list.
I don't know what happened, but he getting a movie produced right now. So
okay, so his Instagram handle is Jared No Gravity. Yeah. So Jared Givens, the author, known as Jared Givens, and football player. I'm sure he'll have a story to tell after his career playing definitely as well. So it's really cool to see what he's done here this season and the last few years as well. So looking at other guys, Noah Miller, a guy who was here when I started in 2019. He and Cody Baxter both were here back in 2019.
Crazy.
And, both of them taking a year or so off and, trying to go other places and do things, but they come back here and, they want to play the game.
Yep.
Plain and simple. And, Noah has just really grown, especially the last 2 years as a linebacker, and this year was his year to shine.
Yeah, he definitely stepped up to the plate and took full advantage of it.
And then Cody, I think the thing we'll remember most about Cody, you weren't here for his freshman season. There was a lot of off-the-field stuff that he was known for at the time. But
I can imagine.
He's definitely matured quite a bit. He and I really enjoy talking to him at conversations and things like that. But, last year or 2 years ago against St. Mary where he had the kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And that was awesome. Not only that, but you guys clinched a share of the conference championship that day. Before Evangel was in the conference and things like that. So it was a really special moment for Cody. Tate Seabolt, people are going to be surprised next year when Bethel comes out with a roster that doesn't have a Seabolt on it.
Yeah. Been a long time since that happened, huh?
But I remember you saying at the beginning of this season you think he's better than his brother. Are you going to maintain that?
I'm maintaining it.
I think Josh would probably be playing right now. I was just saying.
You never know. Yeah, they're both pretty good. I'll take Tate, though. I'll take Tate.
Oh, all right. Well, we have to have something to decide that at some point. But I guess we can just go into Thresher Gym and point at the All-Americans on the wall.
That's true.
That might tell you the answer.
Tate was on his way this year. He was on his way.
Yeah. Well, he's had a great mentality. He's the type of guy that just shut up and play football.
Yeah.
And, that's the guy you want on your team, plain and simple. And just bringing him here, and his family's been great as well. And a big shout out to them and their support of the program the last few years.
Yeah.
And they've been here as long as I have, probably a year longer. I think that's right, because Josh was a sophomore when I first came here, so years ago. But really great family, really great players that they've had from that family the last few seasons. James Goff, I always remember last yeir's game against Avila where he should have had a touchdown.
Yeah, they robbed him.
On a muff punt. And, this year, I always wanted to say I wanted to mic him up at practice one time. I'm sure we'd have to clean it up a little bit. But
he does a good job at practice. He don't say nothing too crazy.
I just think some of the things, especially from camp earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
But you need somebody like that. You need a personality. You don't want to just be flat going out there.
Yeah, he's the personality of the defense for sure.
Yeah, he's putting some enthusiasm and a sense of urgency into the team, and I really appreciate him and all of his efforts in a Thresher uniform. Other linebackers, Damon Lavelle, Connor Carey, but everyone knows him as Butters. And Hunter Riddick, also known as Bo.
Yep.
It's crazy to see those three guys. I feel like they should still be sophomores in my mind. It's like, but their careers have definitely flown by here.
Yeah.
But those three, special teams guys. I mean, I was a special teams guy way back when, so I definitely know, everybody that comes out there and represents your team on the field, whether it's, flying down and making a tackle on kickoff, or, getting a key block on punt return, they're necessary, and those guys have been a big part of that. Kind of switching over to the D-line a little bit. You have Reese Bennett, who is technically a fifth year, and then Ernest Ferrier, fifth year, and then Colton McCarty in his fourth season. Reese and Ern, they've kind of been those two D tackles for you guys that just gonna roll out there no matter what.
Yeah, they all banged up, all bumped and bruised, but man, they go out there and fight and give it all every time. So I love them for that.
And they do it with a little bit of personality. Just
Reese is full of personality. Reese is a diva. He's a diva. He is a diva.
Well, I mean, he did get a penalty last week for a little bit too much personality. Yeah. So some roughing the passer. But hey, I mean, sometimes football is a mental game.
It is.
But and then Colton McCarty, he came in, he was a six-man player in high school.
Yeah, he was doing it all.
He was a six-man all-star, and they played the game here at Bethel at the time. And I remember because I did PA for that game. And, who's this quarterback kid and everything, and who knew what he was going to be here player-wise, and ends up at D-end of all places.
He came in as a safety, moved in linebacker, then now all of a sudden he's a D-end, starting D-end, so that's crazy. His journey's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really awesome to see him. I mean, it way out from Northwest Kansas to Bethel College, and it was great to see him come back this season. I know some guys made the decision not to come back this year and things like that, but when I saw him walk in the door, I was really pleased for the defense on that mark. But kind of switching over to some other things. As far as quarterback play, DJ Sears, I mean, what can you not say about the guy? His highlights speak for themselves.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there's been some frustrating times, and then there's been some peak moments.
Yeah.
Whether it was his freshman season juking out and running all over a D2 team in West Texas, or he's just improv. So many times, it was a design pass. He takes off running. It's either a first down or a touchdown, things like that. And some of it wasn't even the right thing. But, hey, I mean.
We'll live with it.
I was told if you make a mistake, you make a mistake going 100%.
He does it all the time, so he goes 100%. We call him Lamar Jackson Jr. a little bit. He has some Lamar moments for sure, but, yeah. When he takes off, man, he's dangerous in the open field, and the teams are scared of that. So we're gonna be an element we gonna miss coming in the future.
Yeah, we certainly are, and man, he had quite the career and set the career rushing touchdown record earlier this season for the Thresher program. Did it in 4 years, so didn't have to take the next year. I kind of give Chance a little bit of static sometimes when I see him. It's like, oh, you had that fifth year just to break Zach's record. So.
Yeah, for real.
But pretty impressive, to say the least, from DJ, and appreciate him and his family. And Josh still has one more year to go, so we're excited for him for that. And then Ben Schmidt, who kind of transferred in, he has a lot going on in his life, and then, off the field, and then coming into the program, and he was just welcomed in with open arms. And we knew he could throw the football. I covered him in high school at Newton High, and, he has, I still go back to the Bethany game last year where he threw on them, and, he and Trayvon Madison were the hookup in that game. And I was so glad that he got a lot of chances to play and complete 5 passes against Bethany this last week, and especially a touchdown. So, big thing for him, and really excited, for what, even the short time that he's been here.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that we can rely on. He's really a leader on the team. We wouldn't think that, but he's really a leader on the team. He has a voice, and then whenever he talks, people listen. So shout out to Ben for that.
Yeah, I talked to his folks last Sunday after church, and I guess there were some people out there with him pretty late Saturday night.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
But all in clean fun. But it's really cool. I talk to guys like Cody Baxter, and he talks about going hunting with Ben and things like that, and just kind of those things are going to be what they remember more than a lot of athletic successes.
Yeah, definitely.
And everybody here has found their person. And I remember a couple seasons ago, some guys that were like Chip or CJ or something like that, they didn't know a lot of people, and then now they just kind of latched on and just kind of became completely different people because of the culture of the program.
Yeah.
And a lot of these upperclassmen were a big part of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just kind of going through a few others, Toriano Richardson, finally his breakout year at running back. Finally. And, he definitely, I feel like he's a 1,000-yard rusher, despite what his stats say.
Yeah, he should have been.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. Cade Mason, a really key slot for you guys, and I know that people like to give him a little bit of grief about dropping some footballs, but hey,
Yeah, he made some plays in his career.
But nonetheless, he's been a great guy for the program at the same time. James Menard, mentioned him. I mentioned Cody Baxter. And then Trayvon Madison that you mentioned? Okay, so, I don't know. Some of these guys still could technically come back for another year, right?
He's one of those guys, but he got to take some next semester off and do all this other stuff, so he hasn't made his mind up yet.
Well, I
hope so.
We have all sorts of anticipation. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But it's kind of going up front with the O-line. Some things I'll remember from these guys, Kane and Wade especially, coming into the 2023 camp, squatting 600 pounds.
He's crazy in the weight room.
Yeah, I still have that video moment, and man, I'll never forget it. Never forget it. And these other guys as well. Logan Birch has been through a lot here.
Yeah.
He came in as a flex bone offensive lineman and did not leave that way.
Nope,
but
not at all.
But he's done everything he can to adapt, and just a great mentality, a good teammate.
Yep.
More than anything, and a good leader at the same time.
Definitely. Fun fact about him: he's about to be a pilot. He's in the McPherson pilot program or something like
really?
that. So, yeah. Every summer he takes flying. He's flying all summer. So.
Commercial pilot?
I think so. I'm not really sure.
Like airline?
I think so. But
okay.
Yeah. So he's gonna be a pilot soon.
Yeah. Well, everybody's gonna be hitting him up.
Yeah.
For that.
Cheap tickets on your flights.
Yeah, that's right. Ben Rudine, a guy the last 2 seasons has been big for you guys, whether it was center or guard. There's some. I know he had some hand issues as well, and still had to play center and snap the football.
Yeah.
So if all things, you're just going to go out there and just play football no matter what, even if you have 4 fingers. For crying out loud.
He's a tough son of a gun. I don't know if I can play with 4.5 fingers. So he's tough. He's tough. Yeah. He brings every day. He's another leader on our team. He's enthusiastic all the time. He does a good job keeping everybody in line. So shout out Ben for that.
Yeah, that's certain. And Adrian Martinez is the last one, right?
Yeah, Adrian. He's one of those guys. Like we can always count on him to be there. He does work hard. But man, what he brings to the table is, man, he's just a fun guy. Really, like he's always joking, laughing. His laugh is very, very loud, so it's very contagious. So Adrian, he brings energy and joy to the team for sure.
Yeah. Well, you have to acknowledge all these guys, and I know that some of them, I think Damon's technically a junior, but he's still going to academically graduate based on what I understand, and that's really impressive, by the way.
He's in a nursing program too, so he kicking it. He's killing it over there.
Yeah. I feel like some of the guys that just come through here and do it in 3 years instead of 4, I'm like, whoa. Taking summer classes and everything, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Some of these guys live for this stuff, and this is the time to do it, to be honest with you.
Yep.
If you're going to go for your graduate school or your PhD or whatever, your doctorate, do it consecutively.
Yeah.
I went back to grad school after almost 10 years from my bachelor's, and it was, I had never taken a online class.
Oh, really?
And I did, and back in 2020, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is completely different. It's kind of intimidating, to be honest with you, but if you're in it for the grind and you got a good support system and people around you that that are doing it too, so
true. It's just hard. Like, I feel like once you graduate, like when you got homework assigned, you're like, I'm not gonna do the homework. Like, it's no effort in, because my friends did a couple went back for the masters, and like, man, I had to stop because I wasn't doing the homework. I did too much homework in college. I'm not doing no more homework. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, it's not for everybody per se. I mean, to go and do stuff like that by any means. I mean, I've worked with people professionally that have master's degree, but I have probably more expertise with 20 years experience. You know, it's just, you know, it's one trade-off for another. I mean, what does the job require? And ultimately, you know, these guys are going to, you know, pursue careers and, you know, live beyond football and, you know, have to build families. And because of their moments here at Bethel College, you see it every year when everybody comes back for Fall Fest and, you know, they get the old mods together and things like that. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? It's probably havoc, but
oh, definitely havoc, definitely.
But I mean, it's just been a great class this year, the senior class, and I can't wait to be talking about, you know, some of the others that come up the next few years. And it's, you know, me being 6 years here, it's really cool to still see some guys come back, and the retention being so important, and the investment, I think, that all these guys are making, not just, you know, in their group, but the younger people here, the new people here. And that kind of has been a tradition in itself outside of, you know, whatever football does or whatever athletics does successfully. I mean, it's about, you know, those relationships and the experiences that have been huge. And we've seen guys anywhere from your coaching staff that have stuck around from their playing careers to become coaches. And that's so valuable in their life. But anyways, I could talk about that till I'm blue in the face. That's all for the moms out there right there. I mean, you know, to talk about, you know, that's one of the things I learned when I wanted to start going into this business is, you know, you make this special for other people because, I mean, you know, 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't anybody else doing this.
No.
You know, nobody's been doing. I was the first guy to ever do play-by-play for Bethel Athletics.
Really?
And that was 6 years ago, 2019.
Dang.
In all the history of Bethel Athletics, and that just blows my mind to this day.
Crazy.
But anyways, I mean, with technology the way it is, you know, we have an opportunity to give exposure to people and really just show and tell their stories and invest more than ever. So I appreciate everybody. Whether it's players, your coaching staff, the families that I've got to know over the last few years. And this is all about you guys. This show's all about you guys. It's not about me. It's not about Coach. It's all about, you know, the experience for your student athletes and your family here at Bethel College, and we're just here for the ride, right? I mean,
for real.
When you get to it, I mean, it's, you know, you start thinking about it, and it's like, you know, I know people that have coached for 20 years, and I'm like, do you still remember guys from that first season, you know, and everything? And so you're gonna probably remember a lot of these guys
definitely
down the road and these experiences. So nonetheless, and I'm sure all their position coaches could say a lot more fun things about, you know, these guys and that are moving on. So we're excited for this final game of the year. It's senior day, so come early and, you know, just cheer on the seniors as they're recognized before their game with their families. And if you can't make it, you can watch it on the KCAC network, whether it's on your smartphone or a mobile device, or kcacnetwork.com, and then go to kcacnetwork.com/Bethel, and I'll have the call this week for the final regular season game of the 2024 season. Well, Coach, any final thoughts before we do this? I mean, this is our last show of the year. Who knows what the future has in mind?
Who knows?
But when you look back at this season, I mean, what are you going to remember the most?
It's just all the times we had with the kids and the players, are just kind of just adapting to being the head coach and all that. Just how they accepted me and all this good stuff, and then just kind of just hit the ground running with me. Just they was there along with the ride with me all through the ups and downs, and then they just stayed positive through the whole season. So that's why I'm really thankful for those guys. I just appreciate those guys just not giving up and turning their backs on us when times got rough. Just fighting it, sticking out, with thick and thin with each other. So that's what it's all about. So appreciate you guys for that.
Absolutely. I mean, Coach said it perfectly, and I'm excited for this week, and I'm sure we'll see each other around. But for the 2024 season on the Thresher Football Show, appreciate everybody watching this year, and we hope to have a 6th season next year. So we're excited for it, but this has been all for you. And for Coach Interim Head Coach Daylon Markham, I'm Dan Page for a final time this year, telling you to roll on.